What's up, everyone? This is Betamax. My name is Fidel. Joining me, as always, is Eddie and Birdy, and this is our inaugural episode of Crate Digging, where we
Again.
we gotta get a soundboard, dude.
I know.
I legitimately
gotta get a soundboard, dude.
But no, in this episode, we're gonna be each talking about a specific record that, like I said before, we liked it, impacted us somehow, or we liked it, we didn't like it.
It has some significance.
Yeah. But we're going to start off with Eddie. And so, Eddie, what record did you pick?
Okay, I chose Headwound City's EP, self-titled. And before I get into it, I want to know what you guys thought listening to it.
Well, me, I had only heard this record once before. And it was during the time of, like, my music closed-mindedness, where I was like, this sounds whack.
How so? Like,
sounds like The Locust. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. What were you into at that time? Like,
beat down, dude.
Yeah.
Beat down as fuck. Fucking hate breed, bury your dead type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember, like, I had listened to this record. It might have been Jose that showed him to me. And I was just like, I'm not into it, dude. Like, I don't like it. But we just listened to it, and I gotta say, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's
just because, like, since then, I feel like, I guess my mind has opened up and been more open to, like, different genres of music, and I've learned to appreciate all styles, you know?
Yeah.
And immediately, like, right off the bat, I remember, like, the drums just stuck out to me, dude. You said it's Gabe Serbian?
Yeah, because you asked me while we were listening to it, like, who's on drums? Yeah.
Dude, fucking madman.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I absolutely loved it. What about you, Birdy?
Well, when it comes to music like this, me and Eddie are pretty much on the same boat. I love this band, and I love the bands that those guys in San Diego always make.
Like the 31G guys?
Yeah. And this EP, along with everything else that those guys touch, are very enjoyable. I don't think I can ever not get excited about a project that those guys make. So when Eddie because Eddie was the one that showed me this, when he showed me it and like I first heard it, I was like blown away, because I remember listening to it on my car. I think I was like on my way home or something. But yeah, like, and the members in this band like are even earlier. But yeah, I really like this album, and I mean this EP, and I like anything Eddie shows me, pretty much. Yeah.
So why did you pick this record?
Oh, I chose this record mainly to mainly to show that, like, I miss bands like this.
Yeah, there aren't really a lot of bands like this.
They don't make, like, I don't know, like, bands like when I say like this, I mean, like, well, to understand where they get the sound from is, it's I guess what people consider a super group, because it has members from the Blood Brothers, members from the Locust, and a member from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nick, the guitarist. So, I mean, it literally sounds what you would think combining those three bands would be like.
Okay.
You know, it has, like, the screeching, like, vocals of, you know, the Blood Brothers, the insane drums and bass of the Locust, and just the crazy guitars of, like, Yeah Yeahs.
Yeah.
Like, but I chose this album particularly for the drums, because I remember the first time I started listening to this album, like, Gabe was always, like, a huge inspiration, and I always try to, like, play along to, like, a lot of albums, a lot of, like, hardcore stuff, and this was one album that I always had on repeat on my earphones, and I would try jumping along to, and of course, like, he's just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, Gabe is a machine. Like, if I could be, like, half as talented as he is, like, I'll be happy. I'll die happy. But
You are, dude.
yeah. No, but yeah, like mainly for the drums. Like every instrument on this album is incredible, but the drums in particular, like they really stand out to me. And when I say like I miss bands like this, like I just mean like they have like the youthfulness where it's just like blistering fast,
Yeah.
short songs, and like I don't know, like to me, like particularly with this group, they just like they have that like you can find like punk records and all that have like songs that are like less than a minute long and all that, but they're not as like supercharged as this. Like this is just like blistering fast. It's thrashy, and I don't know, like in many ways like it has like a little surfiness to it, like that kind of quality. But it's mainly like I don't know. I get kind of nostalgic listening to it too. Like it just like I said, it brings me back it brings back memories of me getting frustrated trying to play along to it.
Yeah.
And like learning, and this album like molded me like in how I play drums. And it's like an album that's not even 10 minutes long.
Yeah, I know.
It's a close 10 minutes, but so I mean that just I think it's an album that's gonna stand the test of time, dude.
You think so?
Like yeah, like I think 30 years from now, if I'm listening to this record, like I'm sure it's still gonna like get my blood pumping just as much as it did, like 10 years ago. So I don't know. Shout out to those guys for making a.
Have you ever seen them live?
Yeah, actually, from what I read, when they formed in 2005, I think, they only played one show. They released the album, and I guess they just went on a hiatus. And I think it was 2015 or 14, somewhere around there. They played their second show, so there was like a huge gap where they didn't play.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah, so they played in LA, and me and a couple friends went to go see him, and I kept bugging Birdy to go see him, but I think you had work or something, right? Or I don't know what happened.
Was this
the Bedrock, some like little music event thing in LA?
Oh yeah.
And that was their second show ever. And I just remember being really fucking excited, like to witness that, and like and I remember they started playing. I'm just like, fuck, man, these guys are brutal. Like they sounded even better live than they did on the record. And I think Birdy, you got to see it from the outside, right?
Yeah, because I didn't get a ticket or I don't know what happened, but I remember getting there right when they started, and I couldn't get in. So I just like there's a chain link fence. There wasn't even like a real wall blocking the show.
Yeah.
So I was like behind the chain link fence, like, oh man, this band rips.
Yeah, and I was like really excited because they played like 2 new songs that weren't on this album. So that just like hinted like, oh, there's gonna be some new stuff, new material, hopefully a new album, and they did. And that album was like really, really great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal album, and I really want to see this band live again. I think I've seen them maybe, I think twice, but yeah, they're awesome. But
are they still active, or are they on another hiatus?
They're probably on another hiatus. I believe. I haven't really heard too much from them, but the cool thing about those guys is it's like
they're always doing something.
Yeah, they're always keeping busy with music, and I'm sure like sooner or later they'll play another show, release another album, hopefully, if we're lucky. So let's move on to Fidel's choice.
All right, so I chose "Humanity is the Devil" by Integrity. We just listened to it, and I want to know what you guys thought. What'd you think, Eddie?
I heard this album. I remember the first time I heard this album, I believe it was my friend Brandon's house. He just had it playing on his little crappy boombox, and I remember thinking like, man, these riffs are hard.
Yeah.
Like they're so catchy. But it wasn't really till maybe like a few weeks later I put earphones on and actually like sat down and listened to the record, and I don't know, man, this band, like, they're brutal, dude. And like particularly with this album, like I said, it's catchy, it's heavy, it's fucking like the production is so good on it. Like you can hear every instrument clearly. like there's not real like any real fuzziness to it.
Yeah.
Which is like hard for like a lot of metal bands to pull off because sometimes it like when it's too glossed out, like it just it sounds really lame. I don't know, but I don't know. Like this album, I don't know if it's my favorite Integrity album, but it's definitely like up there.
Yeah.
But because I was actually like when I was looking through my records, there was one Integrity album that I was like thinking I might put for this one. And I was like,
do you want to say
I'm
which
glad.
one, or?
No, I'll save it for
Okay.
it. But now, like, I think I'll wait a while before I bring another Integrity album up. But yeah, this album, it rules, dude. Like, even the artwork, dude.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that, but
Yeah.
it looks brutal.
What about you, Birdy? What you think?
I've always loved this band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember getting like super into them when I first heard that album was when there was like a period in my life where I was just like always going to hardcore shows in Pomona or Riverside.
Yeah.
Which I think was like, I don't know, I think like 2012, 13
Yeah.
or 14.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But I was just like purely into all that shit. And I remember like one of my friends like showed me Integrity. Like he put the record on. It wasn't this record, but he put one of the records on. And like I remember being like, whoa. And then I heard this album and I was like, oh man, this is tight. This is like the type of hardcore that I would rather listen to than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed this band and this album a lot. What about you?
Well, the reason I chose this was because for me, Integrity was like that transition band for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I listened to them when I was really into like, it was like my transition from like metalcore into hardcore. Because there was a point in my life where I was in high school and I was really into metalcore. Like the cheesiest bands you could think of, like were probably some of my favorite bands.
Open the pits.
And I remember I want to say a sophomore, and I was wearing a Slipknot shirt, and this guy in I think it was like second period class, he was like, "Man, that band sucks," and I was like, "What? Hell no! Like they're fucking heavy, you know, whatever."
Yeah.
He's like, "Nah, man." He's like, "You know who's fucking heavy? Hatebreed." And I was like, "Oh, I've never heard that band."
So you like the Misfit song?
And then he was like, "If you're actually interested," he's like, "I'll make you a CD, a mix like of songs to check out if you're really into like heavy music." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And all that was on the CD was like Marauder, Hatebreed, and Integrity. And Integrity specifically stood out to me because it was songs off this album. Mm-hmm. It was a song like Psychological Warfare and Hollow were on there. And they stuck out to me because they do a good job of like attracting like that hardcore kid and that metalhead, because they have certain parts that like that can appeal to both. You know what I mean?
I think that's why I got into it, because kind of similar to you, like when I heard this album, or just Integrity in general, like I was really into like hardcore, but like that like More to Pride, like that, I guess, like that straight edge hardcore stuff,
kind of like that. Would you say like that posy style hardcore?
Yeah, I was really into that, and that's
more,
like
more youth crew, you know?
Yeah, so I was listening to that because and then like this came along, like, because I wasn't a big metalhead.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I ever was, but I heard this album and I'm like, they have like those hardcore elements thrown in, and like I think that's what attracted me to it. Similar to you.
Yeah, because you can like circle pit to some of these songs. You could just headbang, you know.
Yeah.
So like it was perfect for both worlds, I guess. And like I just started listening to this band all the fucking time. And going back to the reason why I chose this record specifically, not only was because like those two songs were off this record and those were the first two Integrity songs I ever heard. This was actually the very first record I've ever owned. And it was given to me by a friend, and like I'm pretty sure he regrets it now. But yeah, like it pretty much kickstarted my record collection. And it to this day, like I want to say it's my favorite but I think I'm only saying that because of like the sentimental value to it. You know what I mean? Because I was actually listening to Systems Overload today, the album, and that one is really fucking good. Yeah. But yeah, like that's the whole reason why I chose this one specifically. Like I love this album. Like like you mentioned the artwork.
It's crazy.
How would you describe it?
Tight.
Like really over the top.
Yeah, right?
Like something like that would be like in a fucking Conan the Barbarian movie or something.
But yeah, like, and just Integrity just appealed to me so much at that point in my life, just because like I said, the whole metal elements and like the whole hardcore elements, and just like they were super dark. And I was like that typical angry, angsty kid, just was trying to find like the darkest shit they could get into, you know? But yeah, like Integrity was definitely like instrumental in getting me into that type of hardcore. Like, and it also introduced me to like bands like Ringworm, which is another band like I love. Yeah. But yeah, like that's the whole reason why I chose this album. But I want to ask Birdy, like, what album did you choose?
Well, before I get into that, you know, you mentioned earlier that like this Integrity album that Fidel really likes, like how it's like hardcore but with another genre put into it, which kind of like makes it easier to swallow. Yeah, that reminded me of another band that Fidel showed me that I was like, I remember when I first heard him, I was like, oh, dude, I can't get into this. And he'd always bump them, and I'd just be like, yeah, they're all right. And I remember,
I have a feeling I know who you're going to say.
And I remember we went to go see them live, like in San Diego, I think. And I was like blown away. I was like, this band rips, dude. Like, this band's sick. But like the genre they were kind of like mixing this hardcore element into, it made it easier for me to swallow it.
Yeah, because it has like those little elements that you want, like, that attract you.
Because the genre that I guess like it's mostly based in, and that the most listeners, I'm just not that big of a fan of it.
What is it? Tell me.
But this band's called Nothing.
Oh, okay. Nothing's sick, dude.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not.
But what elements attracted you to it? Like
the hardcore elements and the metal elements that they mix into shoegaze, which is the genre that I'm like I get so picky with that genre.
Like, and I'm all about it, so.
I could honestly say I don't think there's one single shoegaze band I'm into.
You just said Nothing Sick.
What? I wouldn't consider Nothing a shoegaze band. Yeah. That's why like it's so easy for me to like them and easy for me to swallow their music, because I mean there's a lot of shoegaze in it, but you can hear all the hardcore where they came from and all the metal shit. Yeah. Which like, dude, I think that band's so sick. But yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Because that's usually like the case with like I guess when you're getting into a certain genre, there's always that band that I guess confuse the two genres, like one of them being something that you're really into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I was like, I think shoegaze is just that genre where it's like I have to have like it's like a vodka. Like I have to put my Red Bull in it. You know what I mean?
You
like
need a chaser.
Yeah, like I just can't have that shit because I'll spit it out.
So what record did you pick?
I picked. This album came out in 1994. I picked "Human Equals Garbage" by Dystopia, which is a band that I really admire and I really like. As far as the people in it, it's like a whole different story because I always try to separate the art from the artist. It's a lot easier for me to enjoy things like that. But yeah, this album I think is a pillar.
Well, before you talk about it, we got to say what we think about it first.
Oh, if you want to, yeah, go ahead. Fidel, what do you think about it?
Fidel.
Well, I remember when I first heard Dystopia, I didn't like it.
No?
But that's like a lot. Like, that's very common with a lot of the bands that I actually like now. Like, I think I first heard them in high school. It might have been Evan that showed them to me. And I was like, it's not for me, man. Like, I'm not into it.
You're like, oh, I can't even understand what they're saying. He's just yelling, dude.
It's like, dude, it doesn't sound like Slipknot. I'm not down.
Yeah.
Like, that was seriously my mentality in high school. It
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I remember that was the first time I heard the album, and I wasn't into it. But I got reintroduced to it with one of my ex-girlfriends. She was really into the band. Like, it was like one of her favorite bands. And she would always be playing it, and that's when I got into it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is actually really fucking tight.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to it again tonight, I probably hadn't listened to it in like years. And I was like, fuck, like it reminded me how much I actually really like this band. But yeah, that's this album is. It's funny because like I was looking it up like as we were listening to it, and turns out it's actually just like a 5-song EP. But like, they re-released it with extra songs like from like previous splits and stuff. But still, like this, every single song, like it's definitely one of those like no skip albums. You know what I mean?
The whole thing's just...
Yeah, like the whole thing is just really good. What did you think about it, Eddie?
Similar to you, I think it's one of those albums that needs to be played from. I think any album we choose for like these topics has to be one of those albums.
Yeah.
But this one in particular, like I think it's more than just, oh, this is a rad tune. It has to be an experience because like a lot of them are just really like they're instrumentals and they just have those like recordings from like fucking like all these horrible shit that things that like I guess they got on the news or whatever. So and that's what I mean when I say it has to be like this thing you have to experience, and this is definitely one of those albums that you have to listen front to back and experience it.
Yeah.
And it is a fucking dark album. I remember like the first time I heard it, like I remember thinking like this is probably the darkest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And I also remember thinking like how much I loved the vocals, those high like banshee screams. Because like listening to like the Locust and things like that, like I was a fan of those, but like I've never heard those screams with like slow music.
Yeah.
So it was like different hearing that. So like that's my favorite thing about Dystopia, like the fact that they combine those like loud, screeching like vocals with the slow music. But I remember the first time I heard it, like, and just like listen to it, like. I remember it just put me in a fucking bad mood.
Really?
Yeah, like, because, I mean, the album's called Human Equals Garbage, and, like, when you, like, listen to the lyrics, like, they just piss you off, because, like, you know, human equals fucking garbage, dude. Like, humans are pieces of shit, and their lyrics are, like, reflection of humanity and, you know, how shitty people are. And,
yeah.
But I remember, like, yeah, it's definitely one of those albums that, like, every time I would listen to it, it would just put me like in a bad mood, like, but in a good way, I guess. Like, like it would just like reassure me, like, yeah, people suck.
I think it's good when an album or any piece of music can just bring out any type of emotion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the point of most. That's the point of most artists when they kind of put their lyrics on an instrumental track like that. It's, you know, it's coming from somewhere and it's supposed to trigger something.
Yeah.
Like, one thing like I noticed this time around that listening to the album that I did, like, I guess I didn't think about before was how much time it must have taken to edit this album.
Yeah.
Because of course when they played live, when they did play live, like, a lot of songs were just instrumentals unless they had like a fucking the recordings playing like of the people talking and everything, but I doubt they had that. I don't think they did. But you listening to it, I'm like, man, this must have taken a long time for them to edit everything, because not only like did they record like people talking, but they manipulated those sounds too, where they repeat it or they'll like distort it so much that it just sounds like this like gibberish. So like that's one thing I was thinking about listening to it like a few minutes ago. Like, it must have taken forever to edit that album. So it just shows like how, like, you know, you really have to like take, you know, pride in what you're doing and
yeah,
Like they obviously set out to put people in like in a certain mood, and I think they succeeded perfectly.
So why did you choose this album, Birdy?
I just thought it was a really good album. I thought it was well written, well recorded. Sounds good.
It sounds really good.
Yeah. But yeah. I think it's a great album.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, when you first heard it? Like, what was that like?
Probably sometime in high school. I just remember, like, being blown away by the lyricism, which is, like, what mostly attracted me to it. But, yeah. I thought it was good. Still good to this day, so. That's my album pick.
No. I remember this album was really popular, like with all my friends and everything.
Yeah.
It got like the praise, I guess. I don't know how it was received when it first came out. I'm sure that, you know, 'cause it's a killer album, but it's crazy to think about, like, you know, there's like younger generations still listening to those albums and getting into it and appreciating it. So that's cool. I think that's just like another one of those albums that's just gonna stand the test of time as well. Definitely
a must-have for anybody into this type of music and that collects records.
Yeah, for sure. Even though I don't have it, it's one of those records that we talked about this too. It's like you don't come across that often, but it's not really hard. Super rare. Yeah,
it's not really hard to find.
You just gotta be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that concludes this episode. Unless anything you want to add.
No, I think that was good. It was a good start to this new series we're gonna be doing. Yeah. I like this idea. I like that you brought this idea, like, because I mean I love talking about music.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like I eventually I want to have guests and have them choose a record they liked. I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
And it'd be cool, like if any whoever's listening to this, like, you know, if you haven't heard of one of these bands, like check the album out.
You know what? I'll make a playlist.
Yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to just have you guys and someone on here, because I love music so much, but I hate talking about the music that I like.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Pretty self-conscious about it, and
dude, I listen to new metal.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Well, no, I specifically like this idea just because we do, all three of us listen to different types of music. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather just
be,
keep it to myself.
Be an occasional, maybe.
Maybe, we'll see.
Well, me and Eddie are down to do it.
Yeah.
More often, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. Yeah, I'll make a playlist so you could check out these bands that we were talking about. It's not gonna be like a long playlist, so, but I'll put a link to that playlist in the description of the episode. So if you guys want to check that out, it will be a Spotify playlist for people who use Spotify. But yeah, just don't forget to look for us on Twitter, Instagram. Give us a follow. DM us any like music you're into, or specific records that you got into like at a certain age, and like why that record is significant to you. Like, I would love to read that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time.
Later.